The trailer has exceeded 2,000 miles now. The trailer has exceeded 2,000 miles now. I left BC with like, 600 or 700, something like that. So now I've been driving it for a while. There are weight issues, but the weight issues are my own. The weight issue, it is running heavy on the back bumper. I'm going to do a video specifically on all the weights and why I'm running heavy on the back bumper. I'm within spec on all axles right now. Turns out though that my dealer gave me a weight distribution bar that was for less than the tongue weight, and I didn't realize that until just the other day. You'd think I would have checked that, but I just sort of relied on them to know it, and then now that I was getting it through the Catskills a few times, I realized they were off. I've talked to them, they're going to make good on it. Again, that's another video. Let's talk about what I like about driving it now after 2,000 miles, what I don't like about it. So what do I like about it? Well, the thing drives like a champ. Like anyone else who's driven it before or has talked to people who've driven it before, these things tow perfectly. I mean, I wouldn't even know that I'm sort of off balance with my front and rear trailer axles right now, because it just tows like a dream. It tows perfectly, behind me without really any wobble or waver. When I take a curve, and I've watched this on a video my wife took of me taking a curve over by a train station, you can see that the back wheel almost perfectly tracks the front wheels. So it doesn't, when you pull a trailer, you always have the tire kind of coming inside a little more, following a little closer inside of the curve than the original truck tires. But the way it's balanced between my longer wheelbase F-150 and then the wheels, it tracks kind of perfectly, almost like a Disneyland tram. So that's great. I had an incident yesterday where I was on Highway 58 and Caltrans had shut down. I tried to enter the highway from California City where I stopped off, and when I went to the highway off ramp, they routed me right back towards Bakersfield instead of left towards Vegas. I found it a little frustrating, but they were cleaning up an accident, and the cones were the cones, so I didn't go right. As I was driving along there, I noticed these kind of carved out dirt roads going across the median to the other side. Normally, in my F-150, sure, I would just slow down, take the median, and come across. But with my previous trailers, there is no chance I'm going to go down to that dip, come back up, and try to get back on the freeway. Or it wasn't a freeway, a highway. With the seesaw of a long trailer, that's just not happening. But I did it with this trailer, and as I was coming up over the crest, I looked back and I saw it wasn't quite the camber and angle as it came up and over. No problems whatsoever. It towed like it was a trailer a quarter of its size. I went and checked at the next stop. Nothing had popped out, no drawers had opened, nothing had fallen on the ground. It handled it no problem. I've been off on some dirt side roads now and parking lots, and again, I drive it across bumps and dirts, berms and stuff, and it just tows just fine. I took it through slush and snow in the mountains. Wasn't crazy snow like our friends from Alberta are dealing with, but still, it was the most snow I had dealt with the trailer, and again, towed just fine. So really, when it comes to driving the trailer, I find it's just amazing. It is big, so there's the parachute effect. There's a lot of air resistance. The nature of the angles, I'm sure, helps a little bit, but it's still a lot of air resistance. So I can see the effects on mileage when I get above 60 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour, 80 miles per hour. The mileage drops really quickly. And to be honest, I don't think I've taken this trailer to 80 miles per hour yet. So, but yeah, it definitely is still towing a big parachute. Nothing you can do about that. That's just physics. Oh, it hitches up and unhitches really easily. The what do we call it? The e-brakes, the wheel chocks that you can just turn on, turn off. They make it pretty easy. A couple of positioning things a little challenging, like I can't drain the water tank so easily when the slide out's open, because I have to go like under the slide out, but whatever. Don't really care about that. Just sticking with how it tows here. So yeah, it hitches up really easily. It has very little chucking, so when I stop and start, there's very little ka-chunk basically feeling. That's great. I like the way it looks on the road. Obviously, it's a sexy RV in my opinion, and I like the way it looks. I like the way it appears. I like the balance of the size of the trailer versus my truck. It's about an equal length, so that makes for a very balanced load in my opinion. Here's one more thing. Is the black side. So the fact that it has that aluminum cladding on the lower half all in black makes it a little nicer than my previous rigs, which were white all the way around. So at night you would see the reflections of cars and see sort of the light bounce and see your RV basically in your rear view mirror at night when you're trying to reduce the things you see to just the necessary items, other cars and the road. So when I look at my rear view mirror in this one, it's all black basically down by where the car lights are. So it makes it so that basically I can see more around my trailer and less of my trailer than my previous trailers, where that white background reflected back a lot of light and headlights and created additional visual noise. It just doesn't need to be there. So when I look back in my mirrors at night, it almost feels like sometimes the RV isn't even there, because all the black of the RV kind of lowers the visibility of the RV itself, allowing me to focus on everything else on the road more. If that makes sense. I've got the the bigger EcoBoost or Ford engine, right? It's got the turbo. It can really torque out up a hill. So my older trailer, which was a little heavier and certainly longer, when I would take it up the steepest of grades, if I gave the engine everything it could give, I would take the operating temperature of the transmission higher than I'd like. It didn't actually go critical, but it's higher than I like. I really don't like to see it touch 225 Fahrenheit. And there was a couple of times when I was doing the Alberta and in the Rockies in Alberta, where I was going very fast up a pass, mainly because I had vehicles behind me, and I looked and realized I was taking close to 225. I haven't seen that at all with this rig, and I've tried now a couple of times to go up a steep hill and crank it really hard, and I generally, it fluctuates between 98 and 102 degrees Celsius. I'll do a conversion here, but oh boy, I'm speeding and there's a cop. But yeah, the transmission does not overheat, or the transmission doesn't heat up as fast with this rig. I think it's a combination of being lighter and only having one set of tires, so less friction maybe. It's been real nice to see it just hover at 98 degrees Celsius. What I don't like about it, well, it's loud. It squeaks. And I'm not sure how to stop all that squeaking today. It just, you can hear this thing coming. Now, I'm looking for clicks. I'm looking for people to just look at the RV. I want the attention. So right now, I don't care. If it gets more people looking and asking questions, and that's fine, you know. I like the attention right now. But I do like to be able to slip into an RV park at night quietly. And I keep my truck stock, so it's an incredibly quiet truck. If I roll up behind pedestrians and idle, they often do not hear me coming. And so I like a quiet rig, but it's just a little too loud for my taste. What else don't I like about it? Did I mention the squeaky part? I guess the other thing that I don't care about so much, I guess I'm ambivalent about this, but the whole replaceable hitch, you know, so that you can unbolt the current hitch and put a articulating hitch on or things like that. For me, that's irrelevant. I I can see flex in that connector as I lift and come down. It's just a little bit of flex in the metal, but you can see it. I don't need that flex. I don't need that. So I kind of wish it was all just one welded solid front piece, because I don't have any plans to lift the coupler up or down or replace it with a articulating hitch. So what do I care? I'd prefer it just be one solid welded coupler. That's small potatoes. Yeah, and I wish it had, and I kind of quoted this when I bought it, but it was real expensive, and I wish it had awning covers. If this is an off-road vehicle, and I've already had to come into contact with some brush and trees, I'd like the awning to be protected from the off-road nature, right? From trees and branches. So it would be nice if these things came with, or had the option to just be built into it, a nice aluminum shroud for the outside of the awning. Okay, well that's it. Those are all the things I like about it and don't like about it. Very few things I don't like about how it tows. If I have any issues, it's with little construction stuff or interior functioning stuff. But again, the main reason I got this RV was because towing on the road, towing off-road, windlass construction, these are all key things that it's hit the mark on. So yeah, I very much enjoyed towing it.